Hey everyone, welcome to the Mates Rates podcast, where two friends who come from unlikely creative backgrounds come together to start a TV show and work in TV and film, and we decided to make a podcast about it basically, and our experiences in real time, and bring on other creative friends and talk about their creative backgrounds and experiences. And yeah, this is my lovely co-host Josh, and I'm Warwick.
Hi. I guess you approached me about this idea a couple of weeks ago. Here we are, finally doing it. I guess the pandemic sort of slowed things down a bit. We kept trying to get it happening. And then it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
But social distancing has sort of eased up a bit. Restrictions have eased up. We're allowed to be in the same room.
Yeah, exactly.
To finally do it.
Yeah.
So, we thought we'd take advantage. I guess this podcast is going to be showing how, creative industries can work together and sort of, trade things for mates rates, I guess. Did you have something else you wanted to?
I was just letting Josh just spill out for as long as he could possibly get.
I think I need one of these. Yeah. Just to really loosen things up, because I'm like the worst public speaker type guy.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, so basically to kind of bring you all up to speed of who we are and what we do, Josh is a tattoo artist and I'm a filmmaker. Josh approached me with an idea over a year ago now for a show called Hell Patrol, and thank you very much, mate. And yeah, it's something that we've been working on and that we're really excited about.
For
and
over a year now. So.
Yeah, and it's just crazy working on such a big creative endeavor and how much that has kind of shifted us as people and working together in a business aspect. It's just been a wild ride, and we thought, well, we spend literally every day talking to each other on hours on end. So how about we just record it and make it a podcast as well?
Exactly. Yeah. And the amount of friends that have helped us along the way get to where we are has been crazy. So hopefully this podcast will be able to showcase a few of those creative talents that we've been fortunate enough to know and work with. Because there's a lot of them. Too many to mention, but hopefully get a few of the key ones on here and just talk about how their industry basically works in that sort of way. You always seem to just be helping someone else out and receiving the help in return, hopefully. And,
and that's how we met, actually.
Exactly.
We have a mutual industry, the music industry, which is how we met. Josh has tattooed a lot of music artists, and I filmed a lot of bands, and that's how our worlds kind of came together in the first place.
Yeah, music just seems to be common ground for a lot of creative industries.
Yeah, for sure.
In general, anyway, it's I knew nothing about film. You don't really know much about tattooing, but it's we can share this passion for music, and that it's such a crossover industry, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. And we've been to a lot of festivals and gigs together, and that's kind of how we started bumping into each other and realizing we had mutuals through the music world. And and that's pretty much how our relationship kind of formed. And that's probably, what you're saying is very common for other creatives as well, to come together over something very common like passion of music or working with bands, because everyone has kind of, if you're in a creative field, you've probably worked with someone who has kind of come from nothing as well. So that's something that we also want to highlight in our podcast and discussions with other people, is how did they start from ideas in their bedroom to, being a band on stage or tattooing around the world or filming a TV show like we are. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think any creative industry, because it is so, it's just it all starts in the mind. You don't really, I don't know. Obviously, education plays a big part in it, in advancing those skills. But I feel stuff like music and art and film, it all starts from this passion as a kid, from seeing something or hearing something. It's very something connects with you, and that's what makes you want to follow that industry. It's not so much at school I was learning this and it piqued my interest or something, so I went and studied it. It's generally starts from a very young age, a very deep passion for something, and then it's you're just going through your life trying to figure out how do you transition from this passion to like making a career out of it. How do I make money out of this? Obviously, like probably when you started photography and videography and stuff, people probably were like, really? You can make money from that? Like, how do you plan on making this your job and stuff? It's kind of like, you do throw those questions at yourself, like, how am I going to make this my job?
Exactly.
For someone like you, it seems like the music industry is a really good starting point. Like, there's so many up and coming bands, and so many of them need photography work at gigs,
music videos
and stuff. So it's like it's a very natural progression for you to like get sucked into that music scene and really like work your way through it. Obviously you're not just going to start by trying to film a feature film or anything. So it's like you got to start from somewhere.
Exactly.
And same with tattooing as well. It's like generally I just needed clients. Like I was sort of like 17 when I started. I was in bands and I was like playing shows with these like older bands who were like, 18 to 21. They all had tattoos and stuff. So I just figured like, if I'm going to get into tattooing, like my connections through the music industry is going to be where I'm going to get the clients. Like they're the ones that want the tattoos, not like people I was going to school with, really. So
100%.
It just seemed like a natural in for me. Like I was in a band, I knew like so many bands in the local scene, so they all just started coming and getting tattooed. So music really seemed to fuel both our industries, both our careers, really.
And it's one of those industries as well, like with music, it's just once you start getting to know people, and especially with tours as well, like bands come together and they first meet for the first time, and then they become friends, and then like those crew members become friends with the other crew members, and it's just like
it's a really tight knit industry, which I don't know, a lot of these industries are really tight. Just being in the film industry for a little bit now, I'm realizing like how tight it is. Like, fuck, this is so cool. Like I've only ever really experienced that. Like tattooing's like really tight. Like I've got so many friends there. Music's really tight. Lots of friends there. And I was like almost worried that like this is gonna be the one thing I'm gonna venture into where I'm gonna be like a real fish out of water here, and like I'm gonna be like around all these snobby people that like aren't on like my level in a way. Like not to talk myself up. That's not what I meant.
Just like straight away, just like guys, I'm not. I'm a piece of shit, actually.
I'm a dickhead. What I mean is like, if people are gonna be like, "Who the fuck's this chump?" Like, I've studied this, I've done this, and now you just want to waltz in. And you can do like, it wasn't really like that at all, and I felt very welcomed, and it's something I've always been passionate about, always wanted to explore, and I've been really lucky to be given that opportunity. So thank you, Warwick. Let's cheers on that.
Let's cheers that.
Because...
But so going back to a quick sip first. That was a small sip in the world.
You really have to have the whole thing, I think.
What are these bottles? What the fuck?
It's such an awkward size. It's like... a bit bigger than a shot.
Yeah, it's almost too much.
It's almost too much to have at like, what is it, 11 in the morning? I haven't even had breakfast yet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. But going back to music and how that brought us together as well as like this wonderful juicy fireball. One of those bands was The Ghost Inside, and that's actually how we met. So
that was one of the first major bands that you were connected with, I was connected with.
So from my experience, I actually met Vigil on the first time I ever went to the States, because I was crashing with some guy in Dallas who was friends with him, and then that's how I met Vigil. Then they came across to Australia for the tour, and I worked with them there, and that's how we met, because they were getting tattooed at your shop around the corner from my place, and I was just
so that was like...
Was that the first time you met them as well?
9 or 10 years ago. That was a long time ago. So that came about for me because Avalon, my wife, knew the guitarist Aaron. So I think the very first time they came out, she had mutual friends with him. They hung out. They got along. And then the next time they were coming out, Aaron had seen that, obviously she's dating a tattooer, and he liked my work, and he's like, oh, fuck, like, I'd love to get something when I'm in town. Like, you guys should come to the show. We'll hang out, and then, we'll be in town for the week, so we should hang and I'll grab a tattoo or whatever. I was like, fuck, sick. Love Ghost Inside. Like, they've been one of my favorite bands for a long time. And yeah,
trash.
What?
Trash band.
I'm getting heckled. In my ear.
Can you hear that? Our guest is can we cut our guest? Is that?
Can I take this earpiece out?
Get some interference here. Go on, please.
Yeah,
riveting story.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were so in a story.
Lost my train of thought. So went to the show, sort of hung out backstage, sort of met them all. And it turns out they wanted a tour tattoo. And so it turned from me going to be tattooing Aaron to now I'm tattooing the whole band. So
sick.
I put the day aside the next day, I think, and tattooed all of them. So that was very cool. And, you know, like when you're in those moments, you're just kind of like, oh, wow, fuck, like this is really cool.
Don't mind me, I'm just spilling this fireball everywhere.
Yeah, just spill it, dude. Spit it all over your
No
pants.
worries, yeah.
Like
just
an opportunity
really
like that, you're like, fuck, holy shit, tattooing like one of my favorite bands, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
And then you sort of think it's going to maybe end there, you know, they've probably got enough friends, but it just sort of felt like it kept ticking over. Like, went and saw them in Belgium. We were just like coincidentally there.
Oh, sick! Yeah,
like hung out in their tour bus and just like just chilled. And then like I've tattooed them like pretty much every time they've come to Australia. So it's just been like really this friendship that just kind of keeps going. And like same with you, it's like every time they come out, we're
hanging
shows
out
and stuff.
them.
So I think that's a real testament to just how genuine they are as people. They're like really, really, really fucking good people.
Yeah. And
some people warn you about meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Exactly. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but quite the opposite this way. And they're like one of the, I think Ghost Inside were like the first kind of like big international band filmed, and that kind of opened up so many doors for me. Because the thing with filmmaking, it's like when you have like big names on your portfolio, just like it's just so much easier to get stuff happening.
Or like, you know, one of their friends' bands might hit them up and be like, who shot you guys in Australia? Like, we're heading out there soon, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they might pass you on, or, they might just see it from Instagram or Facebook. So, it really does open up a lot of doors. And same with tattooing. I think, you know, just generally, like, other bands seeing that they got tattooed by me, it's kind of like, oh, he's the tour tattoo guy.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, I don't know, it just seems like every 6 months or something, like this other American hardcore band was coming out getting tattooed and stuff. So it just like really, it was
snowball.
Really cool.
That's
so
sick.
I think that really shows the benefit of like mates helping out mates. It's like, you know, and it's really hard to like value your own work when it's like, you know, like you can trade it for something like that, and it just at the time it seems like such a small thing, like, oh cool, I got a $50 ticket to a gig out of it, but I did like $300 $400 worth of tattooing. Like I probably could just brought the ticket, seen the show, and you know, it's like you really need to like take a step back and just
put
always
your ego
like
aside,
and just always think about like the bigger picture. It's like, cool, today it's like this is the trade, but it's like, you know, this could open up so many doors. And it's the same with you. That must be so hard to, you know, like sometimes like downplay your rate and be like, oh, I really want to film this band, but like, you know, like if my rate's too high, they're just gonna go to someone else.
Exactly.
Like,
it's
how
like
do you value your work
based
on like what you think the opportunity might be? And that's what I think the most interesting part about this is, and I really hope we're going to explore it in the podcast, because that's just like the coolest part about the industry, I think, is like sharing work, you know, like trading work and like working out what the value is, and it just like takes money out of the equation, and it takes us back to like the old times of like this guy was a blacksmith, that guy was a baker. You like trade your services,
exactly.
and it's like that's it. It's like you don't need to be
before
like,
currency played like a big part.
Yeah, you don't need to be like, oh, but this equals this dollar amount, and this equals this dollar amount. It's like it's just the effort and the amount of work. It's like just trade it, and just forget money and just really just live in the moment. Try and make these connections. And it's like, you can't put a value on the fact that you and me are sitting here now about to interview Andrew from the Ghost Inside.
That was a fucking segue and a half.
Now
Holy
that
shit.
was clever.
I was gonna be like, he's like
so smooth.
I was like, here's gonna be like a cool intro we can do, just slide on in. But yes,
done. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you. Do you want to leave or do you want to? We'll just
you
go.
You only need me for the segue.
Dude, the door's just there. You can go.
You guys are so crazy.
I'm blocking the door, so I'll just.
You guys.
So you'll stay.
Crazy,
He'll stay. He'll stay. But yes, our first guest. It seemed fitting to have on someone from the Ghost Inside band that brought us together. Really good people. So without further ado, here is our mate Andrew.
Tkaczyk. He said it before.
Yeah. I have a terrible memory.
I got lost in the moment. I did the segue and I completely forgot who you even are.
That's all good. You can edit that to go Tkaczyk. You can make it funny.
We'll fix it all in post. None of this is live.
Yeah, definitely not live. Just
out of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were. Mine says 17,000 viewers right now.
17,000. Oh, fuck. Can we buy more viewers? Like, he's smashing us
Could you?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awkward.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, welcome, dude.
Yeah,
How
what's
are
up, man?
Dude, yeah. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Anytime.
You know, Americans say your name wrong. We say Warwick.
Oh, dude, I know. It is
You
like
definitely know.
Yeah.
Jim especially.
Jim does it on purpose.
Warwick.
Yeah, but it's
dude, I say Warwick, and my girlfriend was like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "Warwick." She's like, "It's Warwick."
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing is about that?
It's their fault for spelling it that way. Just like it's their fault for putting a Z in your last name.
Yeah.
It's not even there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't say it.
And Z is a word, not a letter, so it's not the name of a letter. It's a word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I worked at Warp Tour for like 2-3 years or something like that, and they all said Warwick, and I didn't have the guts to tell them it was different. So
you can't pull someone up after they've
especially after that long.
Once
it's like,
sorry,
Kevin Lyman.
Yeah.
By the way, it's Warwick.
Yeah.
Like all pissed off.
Yeah.
We're like Ron Burgundy. We'll say whatever's on the teleprompter. We'll leave it off. I mean, that's just how we are. That's how we're wired. But what tour was it I first met you on? Was it Amity Affliction?
Who are you pointing at?
Yeah, I don't know who you're pointing at.
Warwick.
My first,
or was it Prom Queen?
It was the Prom Queen one, that rural one. We did like 30 odd dates. Yeah. That was the first one that we met.
So that was 2014. Because when you guys were just talking about it, I was thinking back, and Josh, when you first tattooed us, that was 2012.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A couple of years apart from us.
And that was Architects, Amity Affliction, us.
Yeah, because then the next time you came out was with Data Remember, and we saw you at the forum.
Oh yeah, so that probably was the Sidewave.
Yeah,
I think it was during Soundwave.
So Soundwave, and then the Sidewave.
Yep.
So the first one, Architects, I think.
Yeah, that was because you did. I got a little chicken right here. I tell everyone that's my little cock. You did like the little spooky haunted house on the back. You did the Sailor Jerry Hula Girl.
Yeah. So the Sailor Jerry Hula Girl was the tour tat, and then
that was the one because we were
a couple of you got some extras.
Yeah, we had just done or were going to Hawaii or something.
Yeah,
that was
so it was your Hawaiian tour tat that you didn't want to get in Hawaii, so you just got it in Australia.
So it was before. That's right. Yeah.
That's so good.
It worked out,
man.
I think it worked out.
That many tats, you just got to like send an invoice and just be like, "Hey man, COVID times are tough. Can you just help us out a little bit?"
It's just funny because I'm so used to doing like boxing kangaroos as tour tats or something, and they got a Hawaiian hula girl, and I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's for our Hawaii tour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're going there soon.
Yeah.
Flight gets canceled. We're like, well, we got that now.
Well,
just make it work.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's sick. So yeah, how have you been? You've been smashing interviews daily. I'm surprised we even could find the time to do this. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Dude, of course. You guys are the homies, of course. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of press.
Hero right here.
I know.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? This guy right here. Yeah.
You're our hero.
Yeah, I sleep with a photo of him every night. Yeah.
He does. He drools on it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of press, a lot of interviews. The new album's coming out, obviously.
Yeah.
It's all happening for you guys.
It's all exciting, man. Especially for the fact that we're able to release the album still during everything that's going on. I think it's
you kind of got to weigh it up, don't you? It's like, do we release something and make light of the situation, but I think people are just desperate for content. They're sitting
100%,
around.
Yeah.
The last 2 months have probably been agony for Ghost Inside fans. Like, just fucking release it.
Leak.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored at home. Please release it.
Well, I think we are in a unique position to release it now because, I mean, for an active band, you release a record and you have to tour your ass off on it. That's exactly. Like how you do a record cycle, and bands can't tour. So there's bands that aren't releasing records, or they get postponed or something, or even if like mixing can't be done because of something shutting down. Like this whole thing has just been a crazy mess for way more important shit than music. But it has affected.
Has popped it pretty hard for sure.
Yeah,
especially,
absolutely.
Especially things are easing up, but still gigs of like 500
evaporated.
plus people aren't going to be able to happen for another year or so. Like you keep seeing all the gigs like being postponed to like 2021.
Yeah, I saw you guys postpone your gigs until July next year, which is hectic.
Yeah, and we all knew it was coming. I mean, we were just waiting for the official word, but like, people had been asking us like, is it still happening? And it's just like,
and you're like,
what do you think?
Keep an eye out. I think some news is happening.
The Ghost Inside Virus Fest.
Right, yeah. So I don't know, but it's just cool we are able to still release the record and have it out. We had it all finished and mixed and mastered and everything before this stuff got really bad. So
that's good.
Epitaph and everyone decided, why pause? And we were like, good. Like we wanted to make sure it came out still.
You're in a unique position where you guys aren't going to be touring day to day. Like that's just not you guys anymore. And
right.
For like rightly so, like I don't think you should have to do that anymore. So you are in that unique position where you weren't really going to do these big album release tours. You were going to do these big one-off shows that have now been postponed a little bit, but I don't think that should slow down the release of the album at all.
And
exactly.
And like kind of like going on that point as well, because I was thinking that like obviously you guys are in unique position where you don't have to do these like monster tours anymore. And so with you guys like kind of making that decision was just like an easy call of just like we'd rather just do these kind of like special moment shows rather than just kind of doing like a tour and just trying to push like 30 dates in a month or whatever. So
I just think their bodies probably can't really do it.
I think it's more so that like more so you guys came out to Unify earlier this year, and man, we like barely made it for that, huh? Think how much longer did this pandemic hit? It was like a month and a half.
It was close.
When we started hearing coronavirus in the news a lot, it was like not that long after Unify, which is insane. But like we played that, and we played the comeback show in LA, and our bodies the next days after were just like
I can't imagine. Especially like like you're all obviously like it's like a more like that a step has definitely been taken back in the live show, in the fact that like you're not fucking young kids just like leaping off amps and shit. It's like you can tell Zach is trying to get this like comfortable stance, and like Vigil's trying to like pace pace the stage, like
as much as you can,
bring some presence and room to it. But like, man, you can tell by like halfway through, cool. Like I'm gonna start taking it a little easier. Like, try,
and that's
like,
why we got
tomorrow, like.
Yeah, and it's cool. We can have like the production now to help kind of
definitely
assist us in having exactly.
By all means, it's like when Ghost Inside fans are coming to see you now, post accident, they're coming to see you. It's not you don't have to show off. You don't have to do any of the bells and whistles. It's like just seeing you guys play tight and just like bring that energy that just can't be explained unless you're there. Like that's the show. Yeah. Like I don't need to see, remember like Zach
during
jump around and do spins and shit. It's like it's irrelevant. It's like you're going there to see them.
Yeah, and during like Jim's speech at Unify, like everyone got down on one knee. Do you remember that? I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? It's like everyone, like thousands of people just went boop. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? It's just like
being there is just like
crazy.
I just can't even believe I'm like seeing this right now. It's insane.
That's wild.
So thank you, man. Thank you for pushing through and coming back out, and like you obviously Australia has a bit of a soft spot in your guys' hearts, and you made an effort. Soft spot, special spot.
Same thing.
It's okay.
In our hearts.
It's whatever. We like it. There's nice weather, nice people. It's whatever.
Yeah. It's not great. It's not great. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like
it's okay.
It's not my favorite place in the world. It is, but it's not. But it is.
Like Hawaii.
Exactly.
This is where you get the tattoos. Hawaii is where you relax.
Yeah.
But the fact that you even like included it in like first show back, LA, hometown, obviously.
No
Second
brainer.
show back, Melbourne.
Just made sense.
Sick.
Just made sense to be Australia.
Yeah. You can deny all you want.
They missed us.
You can shake your head all you want. You love us.
It really is our home away from home.
Yeah, that's
it. Had to be that.
That's sick.
So I think everyone
we love you guys.
That night, that was fucking huge.
Yeah.
But so you've been at home. You've been working on your new clothing brand, Take Back.
Yeah, I'm plugging it right here.
Hell yeah,
dude.
Is that like a Taco Bell kind of rip?
That's sick. Taco Bell.
That's sick.
Is it like a vintage Taco Bell? Is that still the current Taco Bell logo?
This is like the 90s one.
That's sick. Is that a burger?
It was like, no, it's a bell, you idiot.
Yeah, but behind the bell, it looks like a burger.
No, it's just the... I'm insulted!
Yeah, what is the red bit? That is a burger. But they do tacos. They do burgers.
Yeah.
It does actually kind of look like a burger back there. I don't know. It's just the...
That is confusing.
That's what the 90s logo looked like.
It's confusing.
But we put our padlock. We infused it with our padlock logo.
That's
perfect.
Sick. Yeah.
So
how did that all come about? Your brand.
So
it's obviously very 90s inspired and
this was also a pre-COVID-19 endeavor.
Oh, for sure. It didn't seem like
I was just sitting at home. It was shortly after I had got back from Australia. And I've just been thinking like I want something else. I want some other avenue and some sort of way to make money, but I want it to be something I'm
so it wasn't a creative thing. It's
completely
money.
About money.
Yeah, that's it. How do I make more money? I need more of it in my wallet. Money's good. Could have more of it.
The thing is I'm only okay at making money if it's something that I'm like really stoked about doing. And so like me and one of my best friends I've known him my whole life. His name's Sam. We grew up together, and we both have always nerded out over Nikes and sneakers.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah. Streetwear. We both like, like Supreme stuff and all these exclusive like clothing brands, and we always talk about it. And we both used to do Photoshop. We both used to sort of mess around and make band merch back in the day. And
for sure.
one day I just
how
texted
it all
him.
Starts, isn't it? It's like you've got your like high school band, and it's like you need merch. So one of you just like getting on like MS Paint and just like grabbing some logo and like rubbing out the lettering and just typing your band there. It's like,
and it's just the shittiest thing ever.
But that's what I love about your brand. It's like you're clearly like you're referencing that like DIY, like young band sort of taking something, making it your own, making it better. Like, I think that's like where that creative mind starts, and you're almost going back to the start of it.
Yeah. So like, I just texted him one day, and I was like, dude, we should start our own clothing brand and make the designs ourselves and do it all from the ground up. And he replied with he's like, dude, I've been waiting for you to ask me this for so long.
He's just like sitting at his computer, like sweating. Come on, Andrew, please message me.
Yeah. But like, it just kind of, it all kind of came together like pretty quickly. And like with what you were just saying, aesthetically, we're like super into throwback and 90s culture, like Super Soaker and Nerf and, you know, all those, like Nerf guns and just 90s stuff that we enjoyed. And
there's so much 90s stuff that I wonder is it just purely Australian or was it worldwide?
Yeah.
What are some other like Nerf? I would have thought Nerf was like an Australian thing. That's just like in every
massive here.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Massive here.
Were Odd Bods a thing over there?
What's that?
Odd Bods? Was that a thing? They were like
don't know.
They were like these like collectible cards with these like weird graphics on it, and you would like rub the hot spot, and like the black thing would disappear and reveal something.
Fuck.
Kind of like Tazos, or you called them Pogs, but we had Tazos.
We had Pogs. Yeah. What you're talking about sounds really stupid.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That sounds.
That's why I think it's only Australian, because it's like it's too dumb to have been like worldwide success.
I love when you try to explain something from your childhood from other people. And they're like, what the fuck are you on? Yeah, and like when you say it in your head, it's like, this is my fucking childhood. And then you say it out loud and you're like, oh, this is dumb.
Any viewers out there, if you remember Odd Bods, hit me up. If you got a collection, send me the photos. I need to see more Odd Bods.
Yeah.
I fucking used to collect those things so bad.
Yeah.
Or like, Space Jam Tazos. Like,
that was the
Did
shit.
You have Space Jam Pogs? Like, Pogs?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all right.
Did they come in chip packets as well?
Yeah, would you collect them in bags of chips?
Yeah, and then we would get plastic cases, little jugs that you could put them in with a screw top. And slammers.
Yeah. Oh,
did you guys ever have bloody
like
drone guys?
Plastic ones, weren't they?
Yeah, weren't they?
Yeah, wow. Plastic ones, metal ones. They had tons of them, but the
throwback
the brand is more of like the message behind it is like it's like a positive message about like, we want to promote the idea of like taking back control of your life. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when things are hard and when things are tough, we tend to sort of shut down and just like point the finger and blame something else or someone else or something, instead of looking in the mirror and like accepting responsibility and doing something about it. And that's what like the lock kind of represents. You're kind of locking out your own potential to break free from that just like being in this funk, and our logo is the lock bursting open, representing like, just take a pair of bolt cutters and smash that lock open and take back what's yours, take your life back. And that's the message behind it. And so it's, you know, that's like, it's kind of like a lifestyle thing. And we're really stoked on it, man. We're only doing pre-order kind of like flash sales like a week at a time now to sort of find our crowd. And
I like that I like that business model. A lot of companies are doing that now. It's just like,
like Supreme, isn't it? Supreme do something like that. It's like
they
super limited kind of vibe. Yeah.
That's what this
company like Studio House Designs and all these like new sort of like startup like Instagram companies. It's like, you don't need to like buy bulk stock and sit there and like try sell like one at a time. It's like, try like cash in on people's like impulse to like buy. And really, I think it's better because it's like you're giving people the option of like what size they want and stuff, not like you've ordered a quantity of each size and like, oh, all the mediums sold out. Sorry, you have to buy a large now. It's just like just buy what you want.
We're able to, someone could order 1,000 mediums if they wanted, and we would print them. And the thing mostly about it is that we, like Sam and I, like the companies that do that. Like we're fans of that chase.
Yeah, exactly.
So like we're just doing a reflection of what we like, but we're putting like our message and our art into it. Yeah, that's the whole idea behind it, and we're having a blast doing it, man.
That's
and we're working on. It's summer for us here. You guys are probably starting to get a little chilly, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in Melbourne.
The long sleeves out.
Yeah,
I've got a t-shirt on because I'm a psychopath. Yeah,
yeah, he's freezing.
Yeah, I actually am.
He's trying to act all cool.
Yeah, I'm like, actually, I was gonna take my shirt off, bro.
Take off that shirt.
Yeah, you have to check the nipples. You got to make sure to make the hard nips. Yeah,
let them come through.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hot and humid here, so we're working on the summer line, and there's going to be a lot more items this time around, and just we got some super sick designs that I cannot wait to get out there. Some really cool shit. So
stoked, man. It's great to hear you having fun. That's the most important thing. You might think the most important thing is making money. That's cool. That's you. But I think it's more important that you're having fun and enjoying yourself.
So this is the official plug. Go buy Take Back merch. So Andrew can
brand.
Take Back brand.
Instagram.
Yep, buy it. So Andrew can be rich as fuck because he needs a
needs money to be happy. So
Maserati.
Help this guy out.
No. I love it for the but we ship to Australia too. I think we had a few purchases from Australia. So
sick. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So just really excited about it, man. Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Well, we'll add some sort of link in this video somewhere. And keep an eye out for it's gonna be like very limited release stuff. So they're gonna post about the new line and then a release date. Chuck that date in your calendar. Wake up that day. Buy that shit. Yeah. And they're live for about 5 days or something.
I think we're trying to go a week at a time. We did this last one for a week, so we're probably doing full week. We want to try and do it once a month.
Yeah, epic.
That kind of like mentality as well, like the what I'm trying to say, like the commitment to brands, like things like Supreme and stuff. That shit just blows my mind. It's like the amount of times I've been in LA. And just seeing a line like for blocks for Supreme, or even here in Australia, like the Nike stores,
like Culture Kings and shit. Like that. It's like limited release stuff, and people will just like line down the street. It's
and
like,
they wait
really
for hours. Yeah. Do you know people make a job out of that? Did you know that, Andrew?
Lining up.
So someone
they're phonies. They're fake liner up people.
Someone was like,
so they just enter the store and kind of like.
No,
then just leave.
Someone's like, I'll pay you $100 if you just like wait in line for me, and when you get near the front, call me and I'll come down.
Then I'll buy.
I'm like, what?
I thought you meant the brands were like planting fake people in the
to make it look like it's busier.
Or something.
They probably do that.
Just to create perception.
You should do that.
Yeah.
Next release, pay me and Warwick to just line up somewhere, and people will be like, "What's all this?" Great, what's going on? What
take,
and you're like, what? You haven't heard? Take Back brand.
We're just walking.
Smash that like button, like and subscribe.
That like button, like and subscribe. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
You got a few impressions. There, guy. Were you the
impressions guy? Impressions guy.
I'm gonna call you the impressions guy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's an impression.
Yeah.
Were you a big Farley fan growing up?
Oh my God, yeah. Chris Farley,
rest in peace.
Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler, probably my heroes.
They have
Huge.
to be.
Yeah.
I just watched. Did you watch the Chris Farley doco, like I Am Chris Farley or something?
Yeah, I did. I saw it a few years ago when it first came out.
Yeah, right. So fucking good. Like, obviously growing up, I absolutely idolized him as well. I've got a Chris Farley tat on my leg.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, all his SNL stuff.
Dude, what's your favorite Farley SNL skit?
Like, is it Matt Foley?
Yeah.
Living in a van down by the river.
Dude, you know what?
And just like watching David Spade just on the couch, like trying not to
losing it.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's just like absolutely just like pissing himself on the inside. Like how could you have done those skits like with him? Like how could you have sat in that room?
Yeah.
It had to have been
and like
Phil
Hartman's like the dad or something.
Yeah.
And another incredible talent.
Yeah.
Gone too soon. Phil Hartman was fucking the man. But
I think my favorite Farley skit is do you know the hidden camera one, the Knorben Knutson, where he's talking about drinking coffee, but decaf. He goes, do you know you're not drinking actual coffee, but decaffeinated Colombian coffee crystals? And Chris Farley goes, what? Like, and he's wearing like that turquoise. Oh, dude, if you haven't seen that, you got to see it. And he says again, he's like, you're drinking decaffeinated Colombian coffee crystals. And Chris Farley just goes, like, and it turns into this insane, like, he starts like slapping people around. It's playing this epic dramatic music. He's like, as God as my witness, you like son of a bitch.
Infuriated that they've schemed him that way.
And to this day, it is still like hysterical.
That's amazing because I've got like the best of Chris Farley SNL DVD and
it's on there. It's on there.
Yeah,
it should be.
Yeah, and then just like the Schmidt's gay beer ad and stuff with Adam Sandler.
Dude, just wait till you see the pool.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then like where they're like those like teen girls at the mall, like him, Adam Sandler, David Spade, and they're all like got their hair and like he's like eating the chips and shit.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
Lay off. Oh my God, he's so funny.
Yeah.
So good, man. Hell. Yeah.
But then recently,
could you imagine?
I found. Have you watched the Tommy Boy behind the scenes?
No, I don't think so.
There's like a whole doco about behind the scenes Tommy Boy.
I did see. I at least saw part of it. I think I saw some of it on YouTube, maybe.
Yeah. So I watched it on YouTube just recently. I was like, how have I not known about this? It's like it's not like a retrospective, like after the fact thing where they're all like reminiscing, like, oh, Farley was so funny. Like, you know, we've all seen that. This is just like footage of them like at the end of each day, like just like talking about it and talking about how they improv scenes and stuff. And it's like, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, so awesome.
I could talk about Farley all day, but
imagine if he was in movies with like Seth Rogen and stuff now. Like,
dude,
you know what I mean?
But how old would he be? He would be like in his 40s.
Nah, he'd probably be in his 50s or 60s by now, I think.
Yeah, he'd be pretty...
60s?
Yeah.
Possibly early.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Probably mid 50s, maybe.
That's sad to even think about. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Him in like modern films would just be...
Yeah, would that even work? Like, old... That guy? I guess, I don't know.
Oh, he would make it work.
Funny,
like. Yeah. He'd definitely make it work.
He would be. He'd play like some crazy senile old man, and it would be fucking hilarious. Yeah.
Him in Superbad, if it was Seth Rogen, or something, or if it was like Seth Rogen, and instead of like Bill Hader, it was like Chris Farley.
Chris Farley as the cop.
Yeah. Just eating powdered donuts and powders all over his head and shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Unfortunately, guys, we had some technical difficulties. Without further ado, let's jump right back into the video. Josh, Warwick?
Yeah, we're back.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Quick little ad break. But yes, picking right up where we left off, we were talking about skits and impressions, and
there was one right there, I guess.
Yeah, and there was one right there.
Yeah, that was YouTube guy.
Yeah,
that was YouTube guy.
That was YouTuber. Yeah.
I find that so funny. Is that like what your radio ads in general sound like over there?
No, that's just like a YouTuber kid.
Yeah, it's like a YouTuber
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
You know.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe button, and let's get straight into the video.
Perfect.
Like they're just very animated. It's just
so weird.
It's very intense.
I feel like Australia's thing is to try like
be more chill,
like laid back.
Yeah.
And like, hey guys, are you tired of erectile dysfunction?
Yeah.
Well, come on down to fucking pop a pill and let's
imagine
it's
like
very like I'm your guy, man. Just
your guys is borderline like therapeutic, like I
very therapeutic. But imagine like sleep paralysis, but it's just like a dude standing over you doing YouTube stuff. Yeah. Just like, what's up, you guys? You're freaking out right now.
Terrifying.
I'm fucking a demon. I'm gonna fuck you, and you're like, ah.
And then this rabbit nightlight is staring at you.
Yeah.
You're like, ah.
And then meanwhile, the Australians are in YouTube going, how you going, you bloody drongos? Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to go here, like and subscribe. Make sure to smash that like button. Like super soft.
Drongos.
Drongos is great.
That's your favorite word, isn't it?
Oh, Drongo? Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good Aussie one.
Yeah, jumping right back into like, impressions and skits and stuff, was that something that you were kind of doing a lot in like high school, kind of just being like the class clown pretty much?
Oh yeah, I was
you had to have been that guy.
Yeah, you have had to.
Yeah, I was definitely class clown, high school.
Yeah.
I was always literally doing Matt Foley impressions in the lunch line in 6th grade. Yeah.
That's sick.
So good. I think that's like a common thread with creative minds, is that like for some reason like the education system like
failed
never
us.
really that too, but also it never like, for me personally, the education system never like sunk in with me at all. Like teachers never connected with me. What I was trying to learn just never sunk in. The only things that like I ever cared about was like art and music, and it almost felt like an escape from reality for me. Like the only way to make school tolerable and like get through it was to like try be funny, like, you know, just you know, try express myself in some other way than like sitting there and listening and writing and doing the whole fucking dance.
And being like the class clown, was that like a positive? Did you guys get kind of like a positive reaction? Because I went to a school full of douchebags and they all fucking like hated me. I just outed my entire
But that's
class.
also the thing as well. It's like you feel like you're the center of attention, you're being so fun, but it just seems like everyone around you is like not getting it at all.
There
you're
were
literally
like a lot,
fish out of a water.
Yeah, a lot that got it, and then a lot of kids that like were probably like, this dude sucks. And then the teachers of course hated me.
Yeah.
Does this kid ever shut up?
Yeah.
Ever?
Oh man.
No.
I was naughty.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really interesting that like so what was your, obviously like comedy like felt like a natural expression for you, but at that time were you also starting to learn music as well? Like was music an escape at all through school, or was that something that you discovered later in life?
I was pretty early on, I think. I was my mom and dad raised me and my brothers on, you know, the Beatles and Van Halen and stuff when we were kids. So just pounding music into our ears from an early age.
You had a really solid support system there at home of the right music being played. And
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And
you knew what was cool.
Yeah, and my dad is a woodworker. He always has been, and he used to like make guitars for fun. He would try to make guitars. So I would always be curious and be like, "Oh, instruments are cool. Can I look at your guitar magazines? These are awesome. I want one. Oh, cool. Foo Fighters. I love them." You know, one thing led to another, and then eventually I ended up getting my parents to buy me instruments, and I think I got my first guitar and first drum kit when I was like 12 and 13, I think.
Yeah.
So did you have like a pretty creative like upbringing, or was that something you just kind of discovered later on?
Yeah, I sort of just discovered it, man. I'm from a very, very small blue collar town in Michigan. Very small, boring, nothing going on. You gotta be creative if you want to not go insane in the type of place I grew up in. So
are you still living in that same hometown, or have you moved to one of the bigger cities? Or
I've moved since, to a bigger city.
Yeah, I only know Detroit and Flint.
Yeah, I'm
near
like
one of them.
I'm like 40 minutes from Flint. I'm like an hour 15 from Detroit.
Cool. Yeah, because I had the same kind of upbringing. I grew up in like a really small coastal town of like 10,000 people, and it's like same thing as like blue collar working. And if you weren't like
do what everyone else is doing, or you try create your own path. You're very much on your own. You're not like, oh, look at all me and my mates that all want to be
filmmakers.
Nah, you're the person in that one town that wanted to do that.
Yeah, and I faced like a lot of criticism with that as well. Like, you know, when I discovered I want to be a filmmaker, like towards the end of high school, and I told everyone, I was like, I'm going to do music videos and I'm going to do all this stuff, and everyone was just kind of like, whatever. Like they just didn't get it. Was that like the same kind of reaction with you?
Well, I guess the question is, did you feel like when did you feel like you needed you wanted to make music
Yeah.
a thing? Like, was that always like once you started playing those instruments at a young age where you're like, fuck, this is me, I got to start a band soon and get out of this town? Or was it always a hobby and you had a bigger dream of
No, I think from a very young age I was always dreaming big with it. As soon as because I had like-minded friends that I grew up with that like wanted to start a band together too, and we did, and folk put all of our energy into it, and then at like young kids still in high school, like my teachers would come up my senior year of high school, my teachers would come up and say, "Oh, where are you guys playing this weekend?" Like everyone knew that we were like playing shows, the band, the kids that are in that band, and because we had done the talent shows and the school events and stuff, like demoed our own stuff, all of that stuff. So I mean, that was
exactly the same.
Yeah. So I think it was always, that goal was always there, even if I didn't. I never expected it to get to the level that I've got to, but I always wanted to try. Like, school was definitely just a little tough for me in terms of being a good student. I guess
it's crazy. Hey, like I'm just wondering like what it is about the education system that is the way it is.
It kind of like just buries creativity.
Yeah,
it doesn't
so like
yeah.
English, maths, and science and religion is like, and then everything else can, don't worry about it. It's just a hobby. It's just a phase. You'll get over it.
Yeah.
This is where you need to be, sort of.
Yeah, get a fucking job, like, stay in line, kind of thing.
I feel like maybe it works because it's like that pressure in one direction makes you want to rebel in the other direction. So that's probably why so many creative people branch off from that system, because the system exists in the first place.
Yeah,
if maybe everyone was like, oh, everyone grab a paintbrush, blah. It's like, you would just have everyone that wants to do it, and it would all be watered down, and you wouldn't really feel like you're like trying to achieve something if it was like, I don't know. Maybe you need that resistance from authority for you to really rebel and be like, no, I am passionate about this. Like, it teaches you passion.
Yeah. Well, I definitely felt that with filmmaking as well, because when I told teachers, like, towards the end of high school, you do the whole, like, careers day shit, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a filmmaker and, like, exclusively do music videos, because at the time I was like, I'm going to be a music video director till the day I fucking die. And people were just kind of like, nah, that's, just... That's like a stupid kind of like pipe dream. And I'm like, oh, well, is it? Or are you just saying that? And now I'm like, okay, well, I want to fucking prove you wrong.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just like, drive that passion further.
I had the same exact thing with teachers. Yeah. The career day thing, like, oh, well, I want to be a professional drummer. And they'd be like, nope, choose a different one. That's bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, you'll see.
Are you sure you don't want to be a altar boy, a priest? Sure. Just something more noble.
Put altar boy for Andy. Put altar boy.
He definitely, that was his second choice. I heard it.
Yeah. He muttered it. Yeah. I heard it though.
You're not being a rock star, Andy.
Yeah. But did like I guess like in saying that as well, because of like obviously the career that you've had, was your expectations when you started not where you kind of ended up? Were you kind of starting at like low ceiling, if that makes sense? Were you kind of like, oh, it'd be cool if we did an album and just did like one tour, I'd be happy with that, and then it grows into the next thing? Like, is that where it kind of started?
Yeah, man. Like with my very first band, when we were kids, like in and fresh out of high school, we just wanted like to go record a record that sounded kind of good. Like, that was the main goal for so long, was like, because we had recorded, we would record demos like us in a live room with like one Shure SM58 hanging from the heater rafters. Yeah. And it just sounds like absolute trash, And then,
mind you, those recordings were like the start of like punk and hardcore for me. So I love that shit.
Yeah. We had no other way. A bunch of broke young kids. We can't do that. But then eventually we somehow got enough money to go record in an actual real studio when we were probably like 16, 17, 18 years old. and it like sounded to us at the time, like if I listen back now, probably pretty bad. But at the time to us then, it was like, oh man, listen, everything sounds so clear. It sounds like good quality. That was the main goal for so long. So thinking about that between where, music has taken me is just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah. You know what I find crazy about like being in a young band with like sort of pipe dreams like that? You like it's so interesting because like we started out, you would play shows for like no money to no people, and you're like already mind blown. You're like, I can't believe I'm playing this show. And then you'll travel like interstate to play with a band you've heard of and that you like.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe we've been offered this gig.
Yeah.
Like we have to go. And like the other guys in the band are like, what are we getting paid? And it's like, hey, no, we pay to get there. We pay to stay there.
Yeah.
We pay to eat and live there for the couple days.
Yeah, we're losing money.
To drive back. We're losing a lot of the money we don't have. But it's like we get to play with this band. Like, do you not understand?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
always worth it too.
In those early days, the last thing you're thinking about is like success or money.
Yeah.
You're thinking about the opportunity and the connections of like, playing with that band, and you're like, oh fuck, they've recorded there. What if we become friends with them and they like get us in with that studio? Or you're always like thinking about this like network of like, how do I like weave my way through it?
Exactly.
And that's
it's exactly the same as filmmaking. Yeah. Like for me being with like filming bands, I had this like pipe dream of like it'd be cool to direct music videos one day. And I remember actually at film school, like so I went to film school like the 2 years after I graduated high school. I had like a gap year, and then like on my first day I wrote my goals, and I was like, in 5 years time it'd be cool to be doing music videos full time. And then like a year and a half later it became my job, which was like fucking mind blowing. But the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'll do this music video for free, just trying to test the waters and figure out, okay, cool, this band knows this band that's going interstate, they want me to go with them to do like a tour kind of video for like one show in Sydney or whatever. Did that, and just keep snowballing. And like every few months I'd kind of sit back and be like, what the fuck is happening? Like how did I get here? Like it just seems so natural as well. Was that kind of the same for you? Things just kind of snowballed and you were just kind of like every now and then just thinking, how the fuck did it get here?
Yeah, it happened so many different times with like different like pinnacle events. Like I remember the first time I ever flew on an airplane, my first flight ever was from Detroit to Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh wow!
Crazy.
And I remember, that was the first time I ever was on a plane. I was 20.
I hope you didn't have a fear of flying.
No,
because that would have been a shit.
I couldn't have even developed one. I didn't know what it was like, but I was just like, holy shit! I get to go to Europe, and our band is getting paid to play in Europe. Like
crazy.
That was one of those moments you were just talking about, where like, wait, what happened?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I was like 20. I think I turned 21 on that tour.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It was with the Red Shore.
See, how many years? Right. How many years before that do you think you were working up to that point of like doing things for free, just playing whatever you got offered, and just doing it to get yourself out there to get to that point?
Yeah, that had to have been a solid.
Is this that same band from?
This had to have been like 6 straight years of that.
Yeah.
For
and that's
for
what
us,
I think. That's what I think people nowadays starting bands don't understand. Is like
it's so much.
If you told someone now, like an 18-year-old now, they would have to work hard for 6 years to be able to like eventually tour with their band and like get to that point they'd want to be, they'd just be like, oh, 6 years, fuck that. Like, nah, not even interested anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the age we're living in is so
it's so
impulsive and
now.
it's so like, I need this now.
Yeah.
Like instant gratification. And that's a huge thing. And
why
also,
aren't we touring yet?
Yeah,
why aren't I getting flown to Frankfurt yet? Like I've been doing this for 2 months. Like,
so it's just such a different dynamic because YouTube and social media, like you could start a band today and it could be massive by the end of the week if you get lucky and get a bunch of views and stuff, and you could you could get to, you know what I mean? Tours based off that.
Yeah.
Like we did our first tour while we were still in our senior year of high school. We booked it on MySpace for the summer after we graduated. 2 weeks. We played maybe 5 shows because everything else got canceled. We had MapQuest Sidekick, T-Mobile Sidekick directions. You know what I mean? Like,
crazy.
If you told kids that now, they'd be like, I'll play Call of Duty.
But that's the thing. It's like, it goes in these waves. You telling that to people now, they would be like, you're fucking crazy. And then, like, if people 10 years prior to that point had told you how they'd done it, you'd be like, that's fucking crazy.
Absolutely.
Because they would have done it without MySpace and without Sidekick.
Yep, they would have been like, yeah,
we used to hand out flyers.
I had a landline phone. I had to call the promoter myself.
Exactly.
You would have those guys for sure.
Yeah. And like, it's crazy because I actually, like a few years ago, I got an email from someone who was wanting to be like a music photographer or something like that. And like, they were just like, you've traveled the world, you've worked with all these bands and these labels, blah, blah, blah.
How do we get to the point you're at now in 2 weeks?
Yeah, and that's essentially it. I was like, I took the time because like they took the time to email me like a big thing. I'm like, I'll take the time back. And I kind of sent them this big spiel of like how hard I had to work and how many years and how broke I had to be. And then they were like, yeah, well, I've been doing this for like 2 years and I've already worked with these like pretty big bands. So how do I just get on tour with them? And I was like, okay, cool. We just disregard literally everything I just said. But okay, cool. Fuck me, right? Like,
it's crazy though. But it's like, like us three aren't sitting here like in hindsight being like, just wait the few years.
Kids these
days. Bloody kids. It's like,
kids.
We're the same now because of this system.
Yeah.
Like we're the same with this show that we've been working on. It's like
a
week goes by where like we haven't received an email and I'm like, fuck, it's failing. It's all done. I'm over. Give up. Let's just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, we're kind of exposed to this same instant gratification thing in a way.
And I'm sure you feel it with the brand as well. It's kind of like, like it's not where I want it to be already, and you've had one launch. It's like,
it's how it is.
Calm down, guy. Like, it'll get bigger. Just relax. Like,
that's
but it's so hard when you're in that.
It's what we're conditioned to now.
The world we live in. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's hard. But I guess speaking of our show, you we were lucky enough to recruit your services to write all the score and sound effects for our show, which is fucking the coolest thing ever, man.
Yeah.
Like to send you, I don't know. I think I just messaged you at like 4 a.m. our time one night, and you were still up, and I was like, fuck, like we really want you to do this and blah blah blah, and just your response back of being like pumped. I was just like, all right,
cool.
This is fucking sick. Like I can't believe this.
Yeah, well, dude, at Unify when you guys told me about it, that alone, I was like, wait, what the fuck are you guys doing? Holy shit! Like I didn't. That was the last thing I expected, but. After we were standing there in like our dressing room, you guys were telling me, I was in the back of my head, I was like, please ask me to be a part of it in
That's
some
insane.
way.
And we were probably
please
like,
ask me to be a part.
Yeah, should we?
Should like, just ask don't. Him? Yeah. No, shut up.
Yeah,
don't.
They're about to play the second show.
Let's just not throw anything. Right at his feet right now.
Yeah.
He's just going to be like on stage, like, what? They're filming a TV show and go to the sound. What? Like trying to play
I was just. I mean, I totally was like hoping you guys would ask me to do something because, when you were telling me the vibe of it, how it's a comedy about washed up Satan and how hell isn't the same anymore, but it's got like kind of like spooky setting, a little bit of a horror aesthetic. I was like, dude, I want to get down on that so bad. So when you hit me up to do it, a month later or a month or two later, I was very, very excited to get to work on it. Yeah.
But see, that just like brings us back to like making these connections. Like if I could have thought that like 9 years ago or something, when I was like meeting one of my favorite bands, sort of hanging out with them, like if that person that day had told me like, in 9 years time, like, you'll be working on a TV show with this guy and like, you'll actually have a friendship and it's gonna.
You'll be on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's like you got to take these chances, and you got to like seize every opportunity. If someone puts something in front of you, and it's like, forget about the money and forget about everything. It's just like if you can see some sort of like opportunity there, just like grab it and just roll with it. And you really never know where it's
you never know
you.
Unless you ask.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
It's like
yeah.
To think back to times where I've like maybe said no to things like that, where I'm like, nah, it's not really worth my time. Like, maybe it wasn't, but maybe it could have led to something.
Well, even the day that you came to me with this show, you were probably thinking, oh, Warwick's talking about like writing scripts for films. Oh, I have this idea for a show.
I definitely wasn't expecting you to walk in that day and me like pitch something to you. It was just kind of like, it just happened. We just got on this conversation about like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm thinking about like writing a show. And I was like, I've got a show.
Yeah.
Write my show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and then we like wasted a year of our lives and we're here.
And that's the summary. Thanks again for watching. We'll sign off now.
Not wasted at all, but it's kind of like if that day you told me
before
you tell Warwick about this idea, you're going to work on it really hard for a whole year.
Yeah.
Like, do you have the time? Like, I probably would have been like, I have time to work on it.
It just kind of came naturally. And it was the same as working with you as well. Like, everything just kind of came naturally. And it was really cool when you were sending through snippets like that you were filming on your phone and like hearing how excited you were as well. It was like sick. We made the right call. So was that something that you were kind of interested in doing as well as like a career path? It'd be like, oh, it'd be cool to score like a film or a TV show. How'd that all kind of come about?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of always been like a bucket list thing, especially with like, especially with horror and thrillers and stuff. Like something about scores in my favorite movies, like the way John Carpenter scores a classic slasher film.
Well, it completely sets the tone. If you like almost watch that same scene on mute or something, you just be like, what? Yeah. Like I was watching an interview with John Carpenter about Christine, and there's this scene where the two guys, like the two main characters, like in the car, like having this conversation, and he was just like watching it back, and he's like, fuck, this is so boring. Like I need to like keep the viewer here because it's like an important scene. I can't cut it, but like the viewer needs to be engaged. And so he just sort of like wrote this like really soft, like
I think I remember seeing that.
This like like eeriness, just like it's just obviously probably like just like one,
just
note,
like ambient,
like a second note or something. And it's just like this like ambience that he's like, that holds the viewer's attention. He's not like, oh, fucking
start shredding already.
Let's amp up this scene. He's not like let me show off.
Could you imagine
how
if he
cool
did?
I can make this scene. It's like his thing is like simplicity. It's just like I just need like the right amount just to keep the viewer interested. And not distract them and not it's such a balance. It's not just like, oh, this thing sounds cool, let's copy and paste it wherever we want. It's like
and that definitely shows with what you were doing as well for like our show. Like when I watched it back with your score, I was just like, fuck, I feel like you just get what the score is supposed to do, and like setting the tone, and then the different scenes that we have as well. Like eventually you guys will see it when it comes out, but like the different types of music, and like it goes to show like I felt like you just knew what you were doing in that sense. Like you just had like a lot of research behind you. So we're just putting you on a pedestal right now. We're just like,
you're the best.
You're
the best that I know of.
No, thank you. I've always paid attention to that stuff in film and TV. Like I've always been captivated by hearing like even in a movie like What Lies Beneath. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer.
So
like just like how suspenseful
that, like, bathtub scene and shit.
How suspenseful music and even sometimes just like tones can like really absolutely change the way you see it and the way it makes you feel. Like it's just such a key thing. I don't know, I've just always wanted to do it. Actually Neck from Stray from the Path, he makes a lot of short horror films, and he is really talented, really good at it. And
the dude's a legend,
dude. And I for years I've been bugging him, like, dude, let me score one. And finally he did one, and he's like, hey, I got one for you. And I was like, same thing when you guys called me. I was just like, cool, I'm gonna go start working on it right now. Send it over. so
it was so funny. I think I messaged you at 4 a.m. Then I woke up at 9 a.m. to like 12 new videos. I was like, what? I was like, we'd just spoken about it, and you're like, all right, sweet, I'll get on it. And to me, I'll get on it means like,
I'll do it when I'm
give us a week or so, idiot. Shut up. Like, And you were just like, sent me 12 videos. I was like, waking up. Perfect. What the hell?
And something else as well that I found really interesting with your methods, and again, people will say this when they see the show, like, I'm not really spoiling anything here, but the way that you kind of wrote the score but made it stop just before certain like punchlines, was that an influence that you had, or were you just kind of like, no, this will really elevate the punchline? And, you know, if someone maybe watches it, they can be like, oh, wait, I missed that. I can go back and watch that again and get it. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's like you've infused horror with the comedy like timing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's like this like tense like ramp up.
It's like
and
that like
pause.
And then they say something and then it goes back to I don't know. I didn't do any research. I wasn't like influenced by one thing. That's just like I've seen so much TV, so many shows that I just like.
That's so sick.
It just makes sense. That's what I'm like. Yeah, this is what would happen if I were watching a TV show on Netflix, like, and it was like a comedy thing, like it would stop here. I don't know. It just makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was fucking sick.
That's what so much of like being creative is just like going with your instincts, feeling those like impulses and urges and stuff like that. Like you just sometimes you just I guess from your perspective you saw something and you just like heard it like that's how it needs to sound, sort of thing. Did you get that sort of vibe when you were writing the new album as well? Was it like a very much like instinctual like feeling that you just like you knew this like emotion you needed to have carry out? Like obviously from your perspective you could have just written this like chunky hardcore album with like sort of no real meaning about it. It's just like, let me show off and I've got this riff I've been working on. Like did you think that way, or did you like when you thought that way you had to like rein it back and be like, no, like actually like this album needs to mean something? I don't know.
Well, to be honest, a little bit of both, you know. There were plenty of like, I've had this riff in my head for a while. I need to like get it out. So I would like put it down, show the guys, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's sick," or like, "Nah, that's not really Ghost Inside-y," like, you know. And I'm like, "Cool." Like, well, what about this one? And then we kind of just build. We riff build.
So it really was like a group.
Yeah, definitely.
Consensus on like, this sounds like it. This doesn't sound like it.
And I just
like whatever it is that we're trying to achieve.
And I just had such an extensive back catalog of unused instrumentals that we had so much to work with and so much to like demos from like 2013 that were never used for like Dear Youth. We like brought back and reworked like stuff that I had from years ago. And like, you know, it would just be a process of, and I kind of already have an idea of how the structure is going to go for a song before we even piece it together. So it's really just about finding the right riffs and the right vibes and stuff. So yeah, it definitely is important too, as well, like you were saying, to, you know, it has to mean something. And I don't know, I try to write I play, even when I play guitar, like I pick hard, like I play it hard because it actually does make a difference. It really
definitely feel it.
Some people might be like, that's cheesy or corny, but like, no, like if you play guitar hard, it sounds like you're playing hard. Like,
when you hear that sort of like slight slap from the string,
there's
like
just
being hit hard. Like, but that also sort of brings me to your drumming as well. You've always been a drummer that like hits heart. Everything is intentional. You're not sort of like one of these like technical death metal drummers where it's just like they're like basically like vibrating around the kit and you don't even see their arms moving. Yeah.
That is sick though. It is sick to watch.
Like, it's crazy, and it's like that's a technique in itself. But it's you've always been this like fucking like heavy hitting drummer that like if you're side stage where I've been before and like watching you, like you can see the kit moving and you can feel the stage moving. It's like
that's
you are
awesome.
Fucking putting everything into it. And
the first time I actually photographed you guys was at South by So What in 2014 when I first met Vigil.
Oh yeah,
and I was behind you taking photos.
It was cold as hell.
Dude, it was fucking freezing.
It would have been great.
We played in hoodies and shit. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I had like 3 layers on and I was still shivering. It was the worst worst weather for a festival. But I remember you snapped one of your sticks or something and you just pegged it behind.
Right in the eye.
It just like it hit me somewhere, but like the force it was, I could see like how much drive goes into your kit. I was just like, fuck, okay.
Wait, did I intentionally throw it back or did it fly off and I hit you?
Yeah.
What a dick.
So it just snapped and you're like, fuck this. Right in his head.
Oh, there's a photographer behind me?
I don't know, man. Dude, I go just to a different place when we play. I'm not like, I'm not thinking, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking sick, man.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that.
No, that's fine, man. It's okay. I'll bill you for the
for sure
for the medical stuff. Yeah,
just let me know. Yeah, I'll take care of any damages.
I've spoken to you about this in person, but I think it'd be really cool to for the viewers to hear it as well. So talking about that like sort of level of intensity, obviously you were having some trouble with your prosthetic, trying to get back into drumming, and your dad sort of invented this hammer that you've called it. So has that come back from his like woodworking days? Is he like just generally good with like physics
engineering,
in general and engineering?
He's just an ideas man.
How did that sort of come about? He was like watching you play with the prosthetic and being like, here's the problem. I think
here's the solution. Yeah.
Even crazier than that.
Okay.
He had the idea about this device before I ever even tried to play drums with a prosthetic leg attached.
Oh, really? He was just like, this is how I see it.
He's like, in his head, he's like, a prosthetic leg is going to weigh him down and like be like have latency. He needs to be able to play with whatever limb he has left after his amputation. He told me about this in the hospital like a week after I processed whatever happened.
Just hitting you like,
well, no,
this is how you're going to play and this is how we're going to do it.
He waited till I brought up, how am I going to play drums again kind of thing. And he's like, I have an idea. I want to show you. And he like wrote it. He like drew it on paper. And I was like, this is sick, insane. And then like, you know, I had a lot of doctors and physical therapists and all this. And I wanted to see what they could do for me in terms of a drumming prosthetic or something. And it worked, but it got to a point where I needed to be beyond what a prosthetic leg, you know, sort of bound to the kick pedal. Because
was it you were finding fatigue from the weight or just generally the push like wasn't there?
It's both. Well, both. So like I would get a cramp in my hip or because basically
the weight each time.
Yeah, when you play a kick drum, you have your ankle, your toes, your heel, your mid leg, your knee, all of it's working together. I have only a thigh, so it's my hip bone. My hip bone is creating the action. So like lifting up too much weight, and also since I don't have an ankle, like after a while, my prosthetic like leg would slide off the pedal. So it had to be
have strength to keep
it had to be strapped down, which created like this tension. It created this barrier where I couldn't put as much power into it because I was like. Essentially, instead of
to slide.
Instead of being able to hit it like this, it was like this. You know what I mean? So And I got really, really bummed and discouraged and didn't want to do it. And my dad's like, all right, it's time. He just went in the garage and made it. He's like, just try this. And I was like, whoa, this is way better.
How long did it take him to build? Did he build like a prototype and then a few versions of what you have today? Or was it just like first shot?
No, he's made like 9 by this point.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But he made one initially. And what he did was he just I think he just went down in the basement where my drums were at the time and sort of measured where my throne that I sit on is and where my snare drum is and sort of went off those measurements. And yeah, he made it and I was blown away by like how much better and how much more control, and it just totally worked. And still a lot to improve on, but like it got me to playing 2 shows back. And
sick. You still feel like there's some refinement to be
absolutely I think there always will be, but working on a couple things now, and that in pair with using triggers too helped. Using triggers.
And like, do you think with the hammer as well, and like, you know, your success story of like coming back and being able to play, have you gotten messages from other drummers who are in a similar position to you, being like, you know, you've helped me talk to my dad or someone that I know that can help me build something to I can drum again as well? Have you had those since that?
I have had a few messages from people. One message, I don't remember the gentleman's name or anything, but I believe he had his dad kind of just help him make his own hammer.
It looked, and then like, did your dad help him with like the mechanics of it and how
not
it works?
Really, just kind of gave him a really good few pictures of it, and they just then they just made one. That happened in one case, and then there's been others, you know, that have just reached out to say like, seeing that you were able to do this like completely changed my attitude on being able to do something as an amputee or being disabled or something. Like, I've gotten plenty of those, but a few drum specific ones, and it's cool. Like, I'm always willing to talk about it and help in any way that I can, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And like, because there'd be so many people who would have a skill set that they were, you know, completely proficient at, and that was like their whole livelihood, and then they would go through something horrific like you have and being like, oh cool, now I'm in a position where I can't do that, but you coming back from that probably has shown them that they can do something similar, I guess. And work within like that's really cool. I actually saw a video on like someone, I see this video come up on Twitter a lot of like, I think it's a girl, I can't remember. She's got like one arm and she's a drummer and she's just like fucking mental at it, just like going hard at it. Have you seen those videos?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one. But I have seen a few. I saw one of I think this dude was a double amputee. He was a bilateral, and I think he had some sort of jig to where he kind of like thrusted his like hip to play the kick, and he was just destroying it.
That's not.
And I was just like,
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
He ruined his hip, or he ruined the kit.
The kit. What did he had this like thrust movement to hooked up somehow to the kick drum, and he was just like absolutely killing it. Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't think. I'd have to find the video. I'd have to do some. I'd have to go down a rabbit hole to find it.
We can like put it on somewhere on the screen if we can find it. It'll be somewhere like up around here.
I don't know where it'll be.
We haven't edited this
one
yet.
Of these before.
So
we don't know how the split.
Check out our old videos here.
Check it over here.
The other video here, and to see what we're coming up with next.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Maybe before we go, let's go back to our love for horror movies and stuff. Maybe we can try like come up with a horror movie idea.
Oh, that's
maybe we can like gel together and just put out some influence.
Super original. Hear me out.
Ghost.
We make a horror film about COVID.
Yes, the pandemic.
The pandemic?
Wait,
original.
We could call
it of that. Have you guys actually watched
Contagion?
Yes, Contagion.
Yeah.
Did you watch that recently?
No, it's so funny though that like if I go onto iTunes, it's like the most watched movie right now.
The most, it would have to be.
Because, I might watch it tonight. I saw it in theaters when it first came out, and I remember being like, "Holy fuck! I hope that never happens." And
It's
I'm
actually
like,
really weird.
I haven't seen
it. We watched it like last week, and I was like,
"It is strikingly similar, isn't it?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is exactly what is happening right now. Like, oh man, it's crazy.
You know, I saw it in theaters. I think it had to have been 2013 or 14. I saw it in theaters, and I walked out, and I was like, "That was insane. That'll never fucking happen."
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
here we are.
You could never imagine something like this was going to happen. Like, I would never have thought you could tell people to stay in their homes for 2 months and they would actually do it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, in Australia they did it. In America, it's a bit different story. But
you guys don't care.
Yeah.
No, I just feel like that level. I just feel like people disregard authority so much that like you can't tell me to stay in my home and just like people would ignore it. But it's like people actually did it.
Yeah.
And like gave it a solid crack.
Yeah.
Like
for
my
kind of a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
exactly.
It took a minute here for people to take it seriously and stay at home. But surely like at some point I remember being like, wow, it's quiet and there's no one driving and people are staying home.
Yeah, all the shops are closed.
And then guess what happened? Stuff started slowly getting a little better.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But back to the horror film idea.
I was just thinking it'd be funny to be like,
come up with like an idea and an elevator pitch at the end of every podcast.
Like come up with like a word or a profession like hanging blinds. And write a horror movie around hanging blinds.
Yeah.
Like obviously some sort of tradie has to get like hired for the job and he like comes to this like spooky house and he's like, "What? You want me to hang new blinds here?" Like, "What?" And it's like a creepy old lady like, "Yes, hang the blinds." And it's like he's like, "Oh, okay." And then like he's doing it.
And she's like, "By the way, the blinds are cursed."
The blinds are literally
And by the way, that lady's name is Blind Bernice.
Blind.
And she's blind. Like, hang the blinds.
Oh my god. Needs to hang blinds for the blind old lady.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my god. And so then he's kind of like hanging him and it's like getting laid. He's all sweaty. He's like, "I've only got one more room to do."
Yeah.
No, or he thinks he's done and she's like, "You forgot the attic."
Oh,
and he's like,
ticking the boxes.
The attic? What? And he like has to climb up this old ladder and it's like the lights aren't working in there and shit. And he's like, "What?" And then the ladder closes and he's locked up there and he's in this crazy.
Do you know what's
would
be a crazier turn? So she's blind, right? And needs him to hang up the blinds. What if she can see through the blinds like a surveillance kind of thing through the house?
It's like a two-way mirror.
Yeah,
blind.
like her vision is through the blinds, and she's just like starts cursing the fucking house
through the blinds. And like somehow gateways to her mind. Oh my god, that's so
or in that
actually the house presence is like cooked to her brain, and she controls everything through her
like
mind.
The eyes of the house.
And like
what do you got, Andrew?
Playing off your ideas you're talking about right now, the attic that he gets locked in is like she can control it to be her own like Saw type. Like weird either like traps or like some way to test him and test his morals and stuff, or it could be like it makes him hallucinate and he thinks he's in this like alternate dimensions, but she's really just manipulating him.
Hallucinations is cool.
And she's doing it all through the blinds.
Yes.
Do you know
what would it be called though?
The blinds.
The blind woman. the blind.
No, just be called blind.
Blinds.
Yeah.
Blinders.
Blinds.
What I watched a horror film. I can't remember. It's one of like those found footage ones, but they did it where these people were like ghost hunters, and they made a franchise out of it. But
that's all of them.
Yeah, but they were like tried to. They're
it's
in
called
like a
Grave
mental
Encounters.
hospital.
What was that? What was that? The mental hospital one.
And like they're locked in, and they try to break out, and they break like through the doors that change, but it's just the hallway.
Yeah, they just keep going. Yeah. Fuck, I watched that. You know where I watched that? I watched it in a haunted mental asylum.
Why?
Why? I don't know. I went to I think it's called Asylum or something.
Something like that.
I think it's called Grave Encounters.
Grave Encounters.
That's it.
And actually, I'm
Definitely
telling you right now, it got bad reviews. One of the better found footage horror movies.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's very low budget. There's no one notable in it.
There's the one part where it's like night vision and they're upstairs and like the blonde girl, she like turns around and her face goes like, and like and it's just like, every time I see it, I'm just like, it's done well. No. It's done well, dude. I think it's good. Yeah, it's like he's doing a ghost. He's like the host of this Ghost Adventure show.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it actually is haunted, and they're in this like this they're trapped in this never ending
because they
circle.
keep opening the exits, and it's just kind of
and it's at the start
keeps being the hole, and it's like what?
And they're like, what? It should have been daytime now, and it's still nighttime, and like,
dude,
shit like that.
Another newer one like that. Have you guys seen As Above, So Below?
Oh my god, that is insane!
Whoa,
what is this?
It's about like the
catacombs
in
Paris,
France. And like they try to go exploring.
So
that
like
movie, it's
found
insane.
footage, and it is.
And
I'm telling you, it might be the
film
best found footage movie I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, they did it so well.
It's hard. It's hard to keep going with that genre because it's like it's been done. Once you know, like the thing about Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project was people thought it was actually found footage.
Right.
So there was that element of like,
is this real?
Is this happening?
Like, I'm not supposed to be seeing this. Like, these are police files.
I'm not supposed to be watching this.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely saw the warning at the start saying FBI have confiscated all this footage.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? Once you like now know that it's all fake, it's hard to recreate that same like tense feeling of like this is real. I have to watch it.
You really need to watch As Above, So Below. It's done.
Yeah,
it's higher quality, so it doesn't feel like they're trying to trick you with it being like an old digital camcorder.
Yeah, it's like a Hollywood approach.
It's
to it as
dude,
well.
it's fucking really good.
Yeah, it's so sick.
I still think you can't beat those scenes where it's like because it's like single cam. It's like you have to like whip around to look what's behind you, and it's kind of like that reveal is always like. Even if you reveal to like an empty hallway and then you're like, oh, it was nothing.
Yeah.
And then you turn back and then the face is there and you're like, fuck. Like you can't like beat that because it's like you as the viewer is behind the camera. So like you're still feeling like there could be something behind you when it turns back around. It's like it's that real like psychological thing. That,
it's good.
I don't think you can beat those type of scenes.
No, not at all. But yeah, that's a definitely a great note to fucking end it on, trying to come up with a haunted film and then discussing other haunted for like horror films.
That's awesome.
But so before we sign off, what's there to plug? You guys have a new album, and hopefully I think this podcast will come out next week just before it drops.
Perfect.
Yeah,
right
plug away. What do you got, dude? Like, tell us what's happening.
So Ghosts Inside, self-titled new album comes out June 5th, Epitaph Records. It'll be out worldwide. We're really, really excited to get it out there. Finally, we've been sitting on this record for a year, so just really fulfilling to see it finally coming out there into the world. We're super stoked on that. New clothing brand, Take Back Brand. Check us out on takebackbrand.com and
be somewhere here.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all at Take Back Brand. Make sure to go follow us because that's where you're going to find out when we're having new collections drop and all this stuff. That's pretty much my plugs right there, I think.
I just want to quickly say, with the release of Aftermath and Pressure Point, those songs are just absolutely insane, and they made me realize good quality emotional hardcore music can still be written. Like, I feel like so much of the hardcore genre is like all this throwback stuff of like, oh, nothing will ever make me feel the way that song made me feel when I was like 16 and blah, blah, blah. It really like spoke to me. And it just, I feel like as people that like grew up with hardcore music, like as early teens, it's kind of like we all like turn 20 and maybe hit this point where it's like, fuck, do I really feel like listening to hardcore music anymore? Like, I feel like the industry itself is sort of like fizzling out or it's getting repetitive or whatever. You guys have just like completely proven that is not the case at all. There is still new songs to be written. There's still new emotion to like show. And
hell yeah,
Aftermath for me was just like paired with the film clip, like
heavy shit.
I seriously like cried the first like 4 times I watched it or something, and then I just started listening to it, thinking like, listening to it, I'll just hear the song. I won't like, I won't see the accident stuff. It'll just be like, I'll listen to the song for what it is. And it's like, even the song still, like, after that, like, really, like, quiet bit where it, like, drops down and then, like, just hits back in with, like, Vigil's scream. It's just like, for me, it's just like, that moment there will I don't think it'll ever be recreated in hardcore music for me. Like,
that's incredible. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's why we wanted that song to be first. It made all of us feel different than anything else we've ever done, and like in like in a hard hitting way. That's why we were like, this is like really special, and it needs to. I think it's going to resonate. It actually took some convincing for me to talk the guys into doing that as the first single. No one was really feeling it.
Right call.
And then once we got the mix back and then everyone got to sit with it for a while, they were like, oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it now. Yeah.
It really does. The whole song just has that feel of like, this is what hardcore music is about. It's like, just, releasing that emotion. So thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for
the album.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, talking shit with us for an hour and a half.
Dude,
we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And dude, invite me back soon because I want to do this again. I love.
Yes, let's do a recap.
100%.
Yeah.
It'll be the first episode and the last episode of the season.
There you go.
We'll
sandwich
bookend it.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this.
Yeah,
thanks so much, man.
And in saying that, thanks so much for everyone that's kind of tuned in. We have this on YouTube. So as Andrew says, like and subscribe.
And wherever you find your podcast.
Yeah, Spotify, iTunes. So leave ratings for us. It kind of helps us like get the podcast out to more people. But thank you to Josh, thank you to Andrew, and thank you to you guys. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
See ya. See ya, Andrew.
See ya.